incapable of listening? Or just comprehending?
No, I heard you. It just doesn't make any sense. Where do the force fields come from? Do they just keep them in their pocket like an inflatable bounce house? The Sentry is a spellcaster that focuses on army support and zone control. They are built from a gateway once a cybernetics core has been built. Like most spellcasters, they have relatively low health and laughable direct damage. I mean, there's a reason these guys are nicknamed Tickle Beams. Their true value comes from their 3 spells. The first is Force Field. This ability costs 50 energy and is a ground-targeted spell. Once cast, the Sentry creates a large hexagon at the targeted location, which lasts for 11 seconds. The main purpose of this object is to block movement, but there is something really cool to know about it. If units are in the location when the spell is cast, the force field will, force those units aside and potentially split the army up. It's much nicer to fight only half of an army, right? The second ability is Guardian Shield. This one costs 75 energy and generates a large shield around the Sentry. The shield moves with the Sentry and lasts also for 11 seconds. Any units within the shield will take 2 less damage from enemy ranged attacks. Let me rephrase that. So this Marine hits my Stalker for 5 damage with each attack. If I have a Guardian Shield up, that damage is instead reduced to 3 per attack. If you just said, whoa, I think that's appropriate. The value of a Guardian Shield can be huge. The final ability is Hallucination. Costing 75 energy, the Sentry creates a hallucinated version of a unit of your choice. These hallucinations inherit the chosen unit's health and movement speed, but they cannot deal damage. They take double damage from enemy attacks and last for only 43 seconds. In my experience, there are 2 major uses for hallucination. The most common is to make a hallucinated phoenix and fly across the map to scout your opponent. Why a phoenix, you ask? Well, because they have incredible movement speed. The second use is to try and trick your opponent into either attacking a fake unit or just to be scared and back off. Some common unit choices for this purpose are really whatever your opponent may deem as a large, scary, or high-value target, such as Archons or Colossi. Sentries are a support unit at their core. Their entire job is to help make a ground fight more favorable. Generally speaking, the sentries themselves are not a huge threat. Your focus is more on dealing with the abilities that are cast. That said, there are still some units that can handle sentries better than others, so I'll talk about those after the abilities. Force fields can be hellish to deal with. There are a few faction-specific answers that can help, but your best general answer is to always be careful. Don't walk blindly into a choke point or up a ramp. Keep your forces spread out, retreat if you can, wait for the force fields to dissipate. Your goal is to try and make the sentry player be inefficient. For the later stages of the game, you can include a few units that have the massive tag, such as Archons, Ultralisks, or Thors, and have them walk into a force field to make it pop early. Guardian Shield is actually very simple to deal with. You only have two choices. You can either kill the sentry or run away. You have to gauge how easily you can kill the sentry. If it's too well protected, then it might be a good idea to try and back off. The shield does not last very long, and it provides an absurd level of value. Oh, one last thing. Remember that shield only affects ranged damage, so your melee units are unaffected. Dealing with hallucinations, the easy answer is to get some prescribed medication, but let's try and find an alternative. Detectors can identify which units are fake, changing the hallucinated model to this blue color. Without detectors though, your option is to try and know if your opponent actually had that tech unlocked, or closely watch to see if your units being hit are actually taking damage from the hallucination, because hallucinations do not deal damage. Once you've identified the hallucinated unit, I recommend ignoring it. Since they don't deal damage and they die quite easily, you should focus your efforts on something more important. Terran players, solid sentry control can absolutely ruin your bio army's day. Be careful with positioning to prevent efficient force fields, and don't be afraid to use medevacs to try and pick up the stranded units and move them safely away from the force field. As the game goes on, you can easily overwhelm the sentries with marines and marauders. You can choose to make some siege tanks to pick them off from very far away, or in the supreme later game, you can use ghosts to EMP their energy away. Fellow Protoss, sentries are very common to see for their hallucination scouting, but never underestimate the power of a Guardian Shield in a Blink versus Blink fight. Blink Stalkers perform reasonably well, as they can both negate the force fields and snipe a shielding sentry quite quickly. Combine Stalkers with a normal Stargate Void Ray opener to crush any potential sentry pressure. For the later game, your go-to answer should be something durable like Archons or Colossi. Zergs, it takes a bit of control, but your awesome answer to sentries is Ravagers, Ravagers, and more Ravagers. Some Zerglings are helpful too though. The Ravager, or the Super Roach as I call it, can use its corrosive bile ability to remove force fields. It only takes one per force field, so as long as you have at least 5 to 6 Ravagers, you should be fine. Zerglings can pounce onto the sentries easily once the force fields are gone, and their melee damage is unaffected by Guardian Shield. As the game goes on, Lurkers are a fantastic choice. With the Hive Tech upgrades, they can outrange most Protoss ground forces, sentries included. Like most spellcasters, they take some practice and some time to get used to, but sentries can help turn the tide of a battle in your favor. Which ability is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.